Hail, intrepid viewers, and welcome back to the Wayhaven Chronicles, Book 1. I believe we're on Chapter 3. I gave a massive and inadvertent, unintentional lie whenever I said I was going to try and do these all in one go and memorize all the names, because I didn't do either of those things. And by names I mean voices, so we'll get whatever I feel like coming on here. I remember the story though, I remember the plot, so should survive. We'll see. Anyway, I called you here because I have a new objective to add to your current mission, the woman says, catching the group's attention. You are to protect the next victim. What? Mason splutters. Even Nat leans forward, lacing her fingers together in confusion. Protection? That's not exactly a specialty, Felix says, everyone in the room nodding in agreement. The agent's lips thin, and she marches in front of the desk to stare at them. You are my team, she says, her gaze drawn back to the folder on the desk. There is no one else we, the agency, would trust with this assignment. The killer has run out of potential victims. There is only one left with the requirements he's after. The ones with the mutation in their blood? Nat asks, and the agent nods in confirmation. Why does the killer want them? Mason asks through a puff of smoke. Doesn't the mutation mean he can't use his pheromones on them to get them to do what he wants like normal humans? Who's talking? I can't tell. I can't keep track. Maybe you should just try no voices. Let's try no voices. If you guys want voices, let me know. I'm gonna try no voices. We'll see if I have fun, if you like it, if you hate it. Experimentation time. Crazy. Wild times. Anyway, that didn't help his other victims, but we're not sure of his reasons, the agent replies quickly. You know who he is. You just have to find him and stop him. And also keep this new target safe, Felix asks. No trouble at all then. Who are we being assigned to? Nat asks, leaning further forward. The agent frowns, her eyes watering for a moment. It's a soft expression the group has never seen from the woman in all their 10 years of working with her. It's... She begins, then straightens herself, her stiff expression returning. She reaches behind her to the folder, throwing it onto the small table in front of the group. It's my child. The group, surprised by this sudden announcement and not even aware Agent Vimes had a child, eventually glanced at the photo, now spread in the open file. You've got to be kidding me, Ava says with a loud groan, gripping her wounded shoulder. Felix bursts out, laughing. Their new assignment is protecting the detective they just met outside the warehouse. Oh, right. This is the last page. You know when I said, wait, ages ago, when I said I remembered the story, I swear it's true. I just don't remember all the exact scenes necessarily. Here we go. Chapter 3, Wayhaven Chronicles, Book 1. Hail, intrepid viewers. The next morning, back in Wayhaven. It's difficult to decide between weirdos or creepy shadow people as I'm typing up my report the next morning. Not only had I discharged my gun, I'd accidentally injured one of them. Oh, I was gonna say, it wasn't really an accident. Injured one of them, which adds a whole new file of paperwork to fill in. Screw the paperwork. If someone wants to know what happened, they can ask. I've got more important stuff to do. That's not true. The sooner I finish the paperwork, the sooner it'll be over. I can't just shirk my responsibilities. I know paperwork is important, but there are other things I have to do first. A bit of procrastination never hurt anyone. Well, how do I want to play this character? I mean, it's A or B, I think. Option D is weird, because I don't know what the action's actually going to be. It describes a mindset, which is identical to A's mindset, but I don't know if D would actually result in me not doing the paperwork or not. A, pretty apparent, wouldn't do the paperwork. Yeah, I'm not gonna do the paperwork until someone asks me about it. This is a small enough town. I don't really expect someone to ask, except this is a video game, so they will. Ugh, a loud groan, leaning back in my chair, staring out through the glass partition of my office to the station beyond. Screw this. If anyone's really that interested in what happened, then they can just ask. I'm hardly going to be forgetting that weird encounter in a hurry. Plus, there are more important things to do. Nope, not drinking. Check my messages. Might as well. I grab up a small stack of colorful notes left by Tina, her handwriting scrawled across them. Heading out of the office and into the main station, I glance down and begin reading them. I pause mid-step when I see one from my mother. I'm just about to read it when I hear someone cough in front of me. I peer over the notes to find Douglas fidgeting in front of me. Is there something you need, Douglas? I ask, watching as he shifts from foot to foot. It's just... He clears his throat, flicking his head to the side so his bangs reveal his eyes a little more. Big, puppy dog eyes, which I imagine often get him out of a lot of trouble. You took my phone yesterday. I wondered if I could have it back now. I promise I won't do it again. He's a droopy puppy dog, apparently. Oh crap, I had completely forgotten. My gaze darts to my jacket hanging on the coat rack back in my office, where his phone is still hidden in the inner pocket. I think he deserves it back by now. Yeah, sure, we'll bluff. Well, options are give him the phone back to teach him a longer lesson, give him the phone back and apologize for keeping hold of it so long, or give him the phone back and try to bluff that you only kept it so long to teach him a lesson. If I had my way, I'd give him the phone back and say nothing at all. But we're gonna go with C, because I'm playing this character a little cocky and a little insecure, a little, you know, I can't admit any wrongdoing kind of thing. Not completely, but not to this kid, not to Dennis, whatever his name is. I clear my throat and head towards my office, moving slowly towards my jacket. You know, kid, I only kept it so long to really reinforce that I need you on the ball when I leave the station in your hands. He arches a brow. Sure. I should keep it longer just for that sarcasm I've endowed that with. Charisma is not exactly my strong suit, so I suppose I shouldn't be so surprised the bluff didn't work. Still, I reach into my jacket pocket and pull the phone out, throwing it to Douglas. He fumbles to catch it. Thanks, detective. With forced gratitude, he heads back to his desk. I let out a long sigh as I watch him from my office doorway. Also, he only gets a voice because I only had like 2 lines in the whole book, pretty much. Suddenly, a welcome visitor strides up towards me. You okay, Sam? Tina asks, worry in her words. I raise a brow at her concern. Why wouldn't I be? Verda told me you went to the Ferris warehouse on a hunch. Did it pay off? She glances over me. I'm standing slightly hunched, my body still aching from the confrontation last night. And you're not exactly looking too good. Yeah, the victim had some blurred photos of the warehouse, I reply, so I went to check it out. It ended up being a popular place last night, apparently. She leans against the wall beside me. Who were they? Did you find anything? Option A. I don't know. One barreled into me, the others seemed more interested in him than me. B. There didn't seem to be any evidence of murder. C. I was pretty well prepared, but still, they got the jump on me. D. I got this off of one of those strangers. I showed her the blood sample. E, it was a waste of time to go up there, or F, no, I didn't find anything at all, I lie. I didn't really keep track of what those options were. Did I find anything? I'm gonna give her the blood sample. I think it'll be interesting. Well, I managed to collect this off of one of the strangers, I say, pulling the blood sample I collected from my pocket. Her brows arch in surprise. How did you manage to get that? I can't believe they were willing to just let you take it. I pursed my lips for a moment. It wasn't willingly, no. I may have shot one of them. This guy's a terrible liar. He could have said they scratched it on some glass or a rock. You know, so many other options. You what? Her eyes widened so big I worried they might not ever close again. It was a tense night, I say, in my defense. She calms a little, a smile lightening her eyes. I don't doubt you did what you had to do. I mean, I did doubt you, but then you said those magic words, it was a tense night, and now I believe you did what you had to do. Can you take it down to Verda for me? I pass her the sample as she nods. Sure thing, I've got to get going on my patrol soon anyway. Her smile turns mischievous. I'm pretty sure my route goes past Haley's bakery. She leaves with a spring in her step. I watch her go, my stomach grumbling at the mention of pastries. Later that day. The rest of the morning passes slowly. The patrol finds nothing unusual, and our reliable scouts around town, the elderly who just love to curtain twitch whenever they get the chance, also haven't been seeing anything strange, nor any new visitors to Wayhaven. I slapped on the phone I had been speaking to Tina on and run my hands over my face. Picking up the tea I made myself a few minutes before, not having had a chance all morning, I gulped back a mouthful. Then I almost spit it back out over my desk, gagging on the cold slop which fills my mouth. It takes all my strength to swallow it down, my face pinching together to force it past my tongue. What is this? I yell, holding up the offending drinks towards Douglas through the glass partition. He spins on his chair to face me through the window, glances at the drink, then shrugs. The kettle's broken. The kettle's broken. And no one thought to tell me? He purses his lips. I just did. I try to grumble through my anger and push myself out of my chair to head to the small kitchen area. The red light on the kettle blinks at me like a heartbeat. A weak one. I lean down towards it, peering at the white plastic shell of the machine. A. Try to fix it. I'm pretty confident with these kinds of things. No. B. Hit it. Good option. C. Try to fix it. How hard can it be for someone who's never tried before? D. Turn it off and back on. Or E. Leave it alone. My character... I would hit it. But not as a first attempt. Off and on. Let's try that. Pursing my lips, a lot of lip pursing going on, old Duckface Chronicles, Book 1. I reach forward and turn the machine off. I count a few seconds, then turn it back on. Nothing happens. The light still blinks away feebly. I try again, but the same outcome occurs. After the 20th attempt, I guess a coffee is out of the question then. Someone says from behind me with a chuckle. The new voice makes me whirl around, and my brows arch in surprise to see the woman standing before me. Mum! She smiles at me, placing a gentle hand on my arm in greeting. It's more than a bit of a shock to find her standing before me. She's usually away due to her work, a fact that hadn't changed even when I was a child. Hey, greet her with a hug. We've always been close, even with her job. It's a little too chummy, I think. I do want to hug her, just because I think it's like a formality you kind of have to do with family. B, smile at her. We're close, even if we don't manage to keep in contact as much as I'd like. Oh, I don't know how much I'd like. C, I'm glad you're here, even if we don't meet often. I always enjoy seeing her. These are all the same options so far, just slightly little temperature differences. This is a surprise. We aren't very close because of her absence, though I understand, or... E, shrug off her hand. We've always had a tense relationship due to her absences. Shrug off. This is, I kind of want to mix and match. I want to say that this is a surprise because we've always had a tense relationship due to her absences. But, I mean, this game clearly wants me to like her. I don't know. I don't want to hug. I'm feeling sore. Let's smile. Let's go with option B. I'm glad you're here, I say with a bright smile, though I didn't expect to see you. She gives an apologetic nod. I'm sorry I haven't come to see you sooner. It's all right, I reply, leading her towards my office. We've both been pretty busy. As we head inside, she glances over to the whiteboard I had set to one side with notes and photos of the murder placed on it. So I can see. She takes a seat on the other side of the desk, and I move to sit in my own chair. Why are you here? I mean, that sounds really angry. I'm probably not that angry. Why are you here? I finally ask, leaning back in my chair a little to examine her. She hasn't changed much. She's always had a mature, commanding presence. She looks younger than she is, though I do notice a few new wrinkles on her forehead, accentuated by the uncertain frown she now pulls. She looks out of place against the clutter of my office in her pristine gray suit, bright white shirt, and stiff, formal posture. The title of Agent Rebecca Vimes growing a bit dull, I say. She shakes her head, folding her elegant hands into her lap. No, work is going fine. A vague response, but that's not unusual. Every time I've attempted to find out more about her job, I'm always met with the same mysterious replies before the conversation quickly changes. The most I know is that she works for some shadowy government agency. She tells me, in fact, that's partly why I'm here. Oh? The case you're working on. Her gaze shifts over to the whiteboard once again. It's bigger than you think. How much can I trust this lady? She's my mom. I'm guessing not at all. A, a murder is pretty big on its own. How can it get bigger? 2 murders? Just tossing it out there. B, great, that's just what I wanted to hear. C, the whole thing did seem to be beyond an accident, or a first-time murder, or D, it must be if you're here about it. I like B and D a lot. I'm gonna go with... let's go with D. It must be, if you're here about it, I reply, leaning my elbows on my desk and folding my fingers under my chin. She shifts a little in her seat before her professional expression returns. She clears her throat, her brows knotting in a slight frown as though stumbling for a word. The man you're looking for has killed before, in many places. I swallow hard and try not to show my disturbance at this news. And now he's picked Wayhaven as his killing ground? We've been tracking him for months. She stands from her chair and begins pacing. But I don't believe he'll be leaving Wayhaven for some time, so now is our last chance to catch him. Why won't he be leaving? I slump back in my chair, a little disheartened by all this information. She twists around to face me, her lips set in a tight line. I sigh in sudden understanding. It's classified. She nods. I'm afraid so, but there is something I can offer you. I perk up at this. It must be serious if I'm being offered resources by whomever she works for. It's something the mayor is keen for you to utilize. My excitement deflates a little. A, does the mayor have that little faith in me? B, O, C, well, anytime you can give is appreciated, or D, I can handle this on my own. Let's stick with C. It is the most gracious, which I'm feeling for some reason. I swallow down my annoyance of the mayor's lack of faith in my ability and attempt to smile. Well, any help is always appreciated. I'm glad to hear it. You won't regret it. Trust me. She is obviously pleased, but my smile falters a little. Rebecca closes the gap to my desk, placing a hand on mine. I know you can solve this, otherwise the agency wouldn't have allowed me to let you lead such a big case. they'd be asking me to take over instead. I smile up at her, grateful for the encouraging words, even if I'm not sure I wholly believe them. She pats my hand and moves away, letting out a small sigh. So, what is it you're offering? I ask. My unit. I arch a brow. Pardon? My unit, the team of agents I command. She gives a half smile at my obvious surprise. I didn't even know you had a team. I thought you ran some department. I do. She quickly interrupts. Once again, she stops the conversation about her work before it even begins. I watch as she moves to the doorway, gesturing towards the front doors of the station. I try to peer around her to see who she is calling, but I can't see anything until 4 people march into the room after my mother. 2 men, 2 women. Half man, half machine. It's hard to keep my jaw from dropping. The group of them look as though they strode straight off the catwalk into my office. I eventually stumble onto my feet and move around the desk. That's a good, actually, little thought just occurred to me. When I interject stuff like half man, half machine, if I was watching this on YouTube, I would not be watching it. I'd be listening to it. And when I do add little stuff like half man, half machine, that's probably real freaking confusing to the listeners. Sorry. Not going to commit to stopping, but I'll try to be more mindful of it and at least acknowledge them or say them in a voice or, you know, some way. I'll try to be less confusing. I can go that far. No one's complained, just saying it would confuse me and I would hate it. With 6 of us now crammed in my office, it's beginning to feel a little crowded. Yes. However, when I meet the eye of one of the group and she offers a smile, I relax a little. Detective Sam Vimes, I'd like you to meet my unit. Meet my team. Unit Bravo. None of them say anything in response, and silence begins to descend on the room like an uncomfortable blanket. An uncomfortable blanket descending on a room. Interesting. A. It's nice to meet you all. I look forward to working with you. B. This is my case switch, my rules. C. Welcome to Wayhaven. I'm sure you'll settle in fine here. D. Do they have names, or do they just call them Thing 1 and Thing 2? Or E. Wait for them to make the first move. I'm tempted to try E, but I'm suspicious that they would outweight me. Let's stick with A. This is a little kinder than I want this. This is a little less gruff than I want this character to be, but I guess we could go with D. I'll stick with A. It's even in the fictional world, I have a hard time being confrontational. I take a step closer towards the group and hold out a hand. It's nice to meet you all. I look forward to working with you. Most of them stare down at my extended hand as though it might be contagious, but the one who offered the smile moments before steps forward. It's nice to make your acquaintance, Detective Vimes. There's no distinguishable accent, none at all. She takes my hand and shakes it. What if I had given him a great accent? Oh, that would have been so good. It's nice to meet your acquaintance, Detective Vimes. My name is Natalie Sewell, but I prefer Nat, thank you. Once again, she gives a bright, warm smile, making her dark brown eyes sparkle. She's tall, incredibly so, at least 6 feet, I guess. Wow. She withdraws her hand, shoving it into the pocket of her jeans. The earthy tones she wears complement her tawny-colored skin. Her wavy, dark brown hair is styled up, as casual as her whole being seems to portray. From the leather jacket, open shirt, t-shirt, and jeans, to the way she leans back on her heels slightly as she stands. Her lips are still curled into a smile when my gaze has finished passing over her, as though she knew I was inspecting her, and I was happy to allow it. And was happy to allow it. If I was a guy, I'd be a creep. Strike that, I'm a creep.